Welcome to the Live to Lift Up podcast, a storytelling space inspired by the life, lessons, and legacy of Sandy Mohonathan. This podcast was born from Sandy's philosophy, Live to Lift Up. Each episode is a ripple where we share stories that honor her love, kindness, and light. My name is Prenai Govender, Sandy's dear friend, and alongside me is my co-host and Sandy's daughter, Denielle Courtney Mohonathan. Hi, Denielle.
Hello, dear Prenai. Thank you for having me alongside you. I'm happy to be here. A good place to start is the beginning. And by the beginning, I mean, why have we named this podcast Lift Up? And each letter stands for something very poignant. L is for unconditional love, because mom loved freely without limits or expectation. I is for inspire through kindness, because she inspired others not just through her words, but through gentle acts of kindness. F is for foster through growth and harmony, leaving everything better than before, because she believed in nurturing people and spaces to bring out their best. The T stands for together, because together we lift as we rise, and mom lived by the belief that when one of us rises, we bring others with us. U is universal, because mom was a global citizen, and she loved beyond boundaries, faith, culture, or background, and saw everyone as connected. And the P is to live with passion, because she lived wholeheartedly in her faith, creativity, and the things that she loved. So each conversation brings these to life through the people who knew mom quite well. And in our first episode, we spoke with my dad, Claude Mohonathan, about a love that lifted us all. And today we turn the page to a far earlier chapter to meet someone who mom knew when she was still a little girl and who mom respected, learned from, and drew deep guidance and wisdom from throughout her living years.
Thank you, Denielle. And I am so excited that Aunty Veronica is joining us today. Aunty Veronica is the mother of Sandy's best friend, Vanessa Gounden. And she actually met Sandy when Sandy was still in school and has been part of her story ever since.
That's right.
Yeah. And so now Auntie Veronica in her 80s, 88, I'm sure your memories are vivid, Auntie Veronica, from sewing bridesmaids' dresses to creating pieces that mom treasured for decades, to all the wisdom that you so kindly and generously imparted to mom. I think I remember mom sharing with me one of your pearls of wisdom, Auntie Veronica, where you said, if you are not learning something intentionally every single day, you are wasting your brain. And that has always stuck with me.
That's right. Hi, my name is Mrs. Subin. I'm not 88 yet, Prenay. I'll be 88 in 2 months' time. I'm 87. Um, I met Sandy through my daughter, Vanessa, and while they were at school. But I really got to know Sandy when they were at varsity. And as parents, you worry about children going out into the world, but you don't know really what they're doing until you hear afterwards you hear the things that they did. The one naughty thing that they used to do is sit on the wall at Mobeni Heights and wait for a lift. They'll hike to varsity. And only afterwards we heard that they used to save that money for fun things instead of traveling. So that was just one of the things that they used to do.
Yes, thank you, Auntie Veronica. And my apologies, you are 87. And I think I remember you saying your birthday is in February, the 1st of February, right?
2 months is a long time.
Okay. Well, I'm
My
going to mark it
apologies.
in the calendar.
That was my bad, Auntie Veronica. That was me.
Yeah, yeah. No problem, Renee.
Okay. So thank you for telling us the story about them saving their money and using it for other things except for the transport. I think it was quite resourceful of them, to be
Yes.
honest. Yes. But you said that you really got to know Sandy when she was in university. Uh,
Yes.
Tell me, what was she like as a young girl in university?
Mischievous, hearty laugh, zest for life. There's so many things that you can speak about Sandy. She wanted to share whatever she had. She was not a selfish person.
The hearty laugh is definitely something that Denielle has. Um,
Denielle has her laugh. If Denielle laughs, you'll think it's her mother laughing. That is what she inherited from her mother, you know. And I'm so happy about that, even though they haven't got the same voices. Denielle has her laugh. I hope Denielle takes after her mother in many other ways.
Oh, thank you, Auntie Veronica, and Prenay for raising that. That's, that's such a cool factor to have of moms in terms of the joy, right? And a blessing to ask that those qualities are adopted by, not just myself, not just my brother Brett, but as many people as mom had touched. Because I think that's the depth and the extension of mom's unconditional love and care and joy. And
I
it,
know.
it it's so wonderful hearing the story that you've shared, Auntie Veronica, already about the mischief and the fun, and it's endearing in a way. It's still joyful and playful, and just makes you love mom even more, even in this stage of
That's
the
right.
journey.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
mom as your other daughter, as you fondly and lovingly called her. um I'm curious, Auntie Veronica, but what is it that you loved about mom unconditionally? If you could name one or a few things, what would that be?
I've just remembered something that while they were at university, they used to form a ring on the grass. All their friends used to form a ring, and they used to put their lunch in the center. And they used to wait for my child, Vanessa, to come with her lunch to dig into it first before they start with the other lunches. So Vanessa's lunch used to get finished first. That is another memory that I can have. Vanessa and Sandy were best friends, and I used to make their lunches, and then each of them used to take their lunch and put it in the center of this ring, and then they used to wait for and Sandy used to keep telling me that we used to wait for Vanessa. That is another memory that I've got. And you said to me what I think of Sandy. You know what I used to make a lot of things for Sandy, table mats and tablecloths and things like that.
Thank you. And I very much know and understand that it was
She was so
a lot-
caring.
so caring, so loving, so kind, so generous with
Yes,
her
and fun
time.
and fun
So much
and
fun.
fun.
So much fun.
Always fun. Always fun.
Absolutely. So, Auntie Veronica, what is it about mom? If you could pick one thing that you will always love unconditionally.
Her love of sharing things. She traveled the world, but yet she was humble. That is the most wonderful thing anybody that can have, to be humble. And she had everything. She had houses, she had money, she traveled the world, and yet she gave time to people. She gave time, and that is the most important thing that I can think of.
Absolutely. I think there's no money that can buy or replace that, right? In terms of
That's
time.
right. That's right.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so important. And it's such a wonderful quality and value and legacy to pass on, right? So thank you for raising a very important point, Auntie Veronica. Thank you. I think another question to share or to ask with you is you are older and wiser, right? But mom had this way of inspiring people of all ages. So what is it that inspired you about mom?
Sandy was such a caring person. She cared for everybody, no matter who it was. You would notice that in Sandy, and she lived life to the fullest.
She did. She certainly did. And as you describe her, Auntie Veronica, when she was at university with the zest for life, the fun sense of, the fun approach to life, she was mischievous. And for myself, having walked the journey with Sandy much, much later on, because I met her when she was much older, she still had those same qualities with her
Yes, yes,
right
yes,
until the very end. And that's something I think that is so authentic about her. Um,
yes,
uh,
yes.
yes, so thank you. So thank you for sharing that early memory of how she was when she was in university.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, I know that you also sew things. I've seen the beautiful quilts where you're sitting in the back of your couch, and I also know that you sewed many special pieces for Sandy. Is there anything that stands out for you?
A lot of things stand out for me. I made so many things over the years for Sandy that I always used to say, like, in each home, like my children, I make 3 things for my children every Christmas, the same thing, so nobody could squabble or nobody could say, I got the better one. So I make the same for the 3 of them. And then Sandy said, I'm your other child. So I added her to the list. So Sandy got a lot of things from me: table mats, tablecloths, mosaic, decoupage, and quilting. The thing that stands out for me is a bed throw that I made in red and gray. And what was so good about Sandy, what was so nice about her, is that she used to take photos whenever she used anything that I made for her. She used to send me a photo, and she'll say to me, can you recognize anything from the table, the candlesticks or something? And then I used to say, yes, I can see the tablecloth with your cutlery and things like that. So, and her wedding, I did most of the things in her wedding. She was so grateful that I did so much for their wedding, and up till today, she used to speak about what I did for her wedding, and they'll always say, "You always did so much for me." Or Claude and Sandy used to say, uh, it was like a wedding house in my house for her, But her wedding was red and white. Everything was red and white. I did her the bouquets. I did the headdresses. I did the gloves. I did most of the things, and also the mementos that were on the table. I made all those little mementos that the guests could take away.
It sounds so special. And
It
Sandy
is.
was, yes, one thing that I only realize now, after she passed on, is just how sentimental she was in keeping things. And Denielle, I think that's something you and I spoke about as well recently, about mom keeping everything.
100%. Absolutely. You know, Auntie Veronica, I've always appreciated, and this is definitely something I believe mom learned from you, is your refreshing honesty. You know, and to that point about mom honestly keeping every little thing, some could call it hoarding, some could call it, being very sentimental, whichever we'd like to term it. It's very true. Mom did. She kept everything. I think while going through the Dubai apartment, and a lot of her things, in packing things up and putting things away, and we we found letters and cards and little pieces of paper and sticky notes, and she just kept everything, which speaks to everything was precious to mom and a sense of gratitude. And I loved how, Auntie Veronica, you shared the story of, mom in all her honesty saying, but I'm also your child. You must also make Christmas items for me too.
She was not shy. She was not shy. She would
No.
she would ask for what she wanted, you
Yes.
know. And if I wanted to give her something to take with her, she'd say, "Yes, I want this and I want that." She would not be shy. So I'd be happy to do that. And I know your dad loves scones, so I made sure whenever they came, I made scones for your dad.
Thank you for doing that. I, there's a consistent thread here in creating harmony, right, Auntie Veronica? Like you said, mom
That's
wasn't
right. Yeah.
shy to ask for what she wanted.
Yes.
In the same way, you were mindful that I have to include all my children. And I will make the same thing, you know, so that nobody feels that you're doing more for one than the other, even if it meant
So true. So true.
you're making everything the same, or you're making dad his scones, or whatever. I mean, even I've gotten the most beautiful quilts from you. I'm very grateful. And I think to that point of harmony, mom had this quiet way of creating harmony without forcing it. And that's something I witness many doing, um, in their authentic best way as well. But bringing people together and harmony is such a consistent thread in mom's story, Auntie Veronica. So for you, my question here is, what moments stand out for you where mom consistently brought people together versus tearing them further apart? And how did she do this?
She would anybody that she felt that didn't know what she meant, she would teach them. She would inspire them. Anybody would want to learn from her because Sandy was such a good person. And Sandy was in her quiet way, she would explain how she wanted things done. So people learned from her.
Thank you, Auntie Veronica. And Sandy was also a teacher, which is something that I experienced. So, if she learnt about something, she would also share it with you. And, I'd remember she'd come to me and say, "So exciting, look what I learned," or "Look what I found." And that was
That's
something
right.
I've always been in awe of.
You are so right. You are so right because I've got a memory of my late sister Anne. She was a very lonely person, and Sandy made time to include her in everything. She used to take her to Peakingwood. She used to take her for weekends. She would make sure that Anne wasn't lonely, and Anne used to phone me and tell me about it, which made me happy. So Sandy included everybody, and she could feel or she could sense a person that needed love. She was a person that people were drawn to her. She didn't isolate anybody.
Yes, I can certainly see that from the way she lived, and she brought a lot of people together as well, right?
That's
Um,
right.
she would
That's
just
right.
connect, and you know what stands out for me, because let's be honest, I had a separate relationship with Sandy, and I knew a lot about the extended people in her life, such as you and Vanessa, through Sandy, and yet through her death, she's still connecting us because I would have never spoken to you before, you know?
That's right. That's right. And I would never have spoken to you, Prenay. I would never have met you. And I've got a new friend now. So can you imagine Sandy is still doing that even though she's not here?
I know, and it's something it's something so special. I have goosebumps as I'm saying this, that she's still making an impact. And
Did you meet Vanessa before?
I did. I met her briefly before, but it was very casual. I never really got to know her. And this past week, as we've been preparing for this, I've gotten to know her a little bit better. And yes, and it's just wonderful. So yeah, thank you, Sandy, wherever you are. I feel like I've lost her, and I've lost a dear friend, and yet I'm gaining so much, so many more.
That's right. That's right. And Sandy, even though she's not here, she has impacted so many people's lives. You know, when she even used to talk to her co-workers, you could see how she spoke to them. You know, like all of a sudden, you just look at Sandy, and there's there's so much that you can say about Sandy that you can't even think about now. I think you will feel the same, Pranay.
Absolutely. And I think it's the feeling and the emotion as I'm
She's still
speaking to you.
connected. She's still connected with all of us from heaven because she's gone straight to heaven, this child.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Now, the one thing I know that she also did really well, exceptionally well, not really well, Denielle, is that she connected so many people across cultures and backgrounds. And you even lived with mom in the US and the UAE at some point. What do you think people felt so drawn to mom? And I call her mom. Why do you think people felt so drawn to Sandy, Auntie Veronica?
I think because she connected with people. Like anybody would be drawn to Sandy, and because they felt comfortable with her. I think that's the reason. Don't you think so?
I think so. And I think it's also very special that she's able to maintain connections from people of different ages and walks of life.
She would have a relationship with old and young. There was no age gap in between. Um, there's many cultures that she has interacted with. So the, Sandy has done everything in her short life. She wanted to do everything at a pace. She wanted to, but what I can't understand, she exercised, she ate the right food, she did yoga, she did everything. So you ask yourself, why do you do all the right things if this happens? Because she still had so much to do before she went away from all of us.
I also question Auntie Veronica. I also question, and I wish I had the answers, but I don't. But here we are now, the three of us, trying to keep her memory alive and her legacy alive, in doing this. And like Danielle and I said at the start of the podcast, this is our way of sharing those stories and those moments so that she can still lift up and we can lift each other up.
Oh, you are so right. You are so right. And thank you for including me in this. Thank you that you have chosen me.
Claude recommended that we speak to you. And in fact, he didn't just recommend, he insisted. He said, Aunty Veronica.
Claude and Sandy are a team. Claude and Sandy are so close. She would send me photos whenever they went out to dinner, even during the week. She would send me photos and say, this is the restaurant that we went to, this is what we ate, and she would show me what they ate. And both of them used to take a photo, and they used to have matching clothes, and I used to say to them, I used to make a joke with them and say, like, both of you are wearing the same colors, or both of you are wearing the same kind of clothes. And it seems to me that Sandy wanted to do so much in her short life, and she did everything in her short life. She inspired so many people. The passion that your mother had, she had a passion for everybody. I mean, like she loved everybody. She cared for everybody. She shared her thing. She shared whatever she had. So the passion that you talk about the is to unite people. There's anything that else that I can say that she wanted everybody to be happy. That is the thing with Sandy. She wanted to see a smile on everybody's face.
Agreed.
Then
Absolutely.
she was happy, and
Yes,
she uplifted the young and the old.
I love that. Spot on, Auntie Veronica, and thank you for that. And I love that you've organically looped in the acronym of uplift. We could jumble that around and say lift up. Because it's true. That was the extension of mom's passion, right? Being contagious. She did want you to be better. She wanted to inject you know, that passion into everyone and everything that she touched, to make the circle bigger, to inspire further, and our aim, or one of the aims of this podcast, is that it still continues to do that, like we've shared in this podcast. The connection that you and Prenai have made through mom, even though she's not here anymore, that's still going. The infectious passion and the joy still keeps going with the technical difficulties. I tell you, Auntie Veronica, please do have a chat with mom, because I have no doubt that was her, getting up to mischief and having a laugh, while
That's
all of us
right.
are busy scrambling. And to the point of passion, absolutely. May this podcast and you being so gracious to join us for it. So thank you for your time, Auntie Veronica. It's precious and it means something. Is that everybody who will be listening to this podcast, is that we endeavor to have that passion extend and keep going and further inspire, and may it be rooted at, you said it so aptly, that it's not just joy, but it's pure love, right? She wanted everybody to be happy. She just wanted people to love, be happy, be loved, love one another. The intention was so pure. So thank you for raising such important points that you have, Auntie Veronica.
I think she wanted to unite people, uplift the young in their careers. She helped everybody with her guidance and their careers.
Absolutely, she really, really did. And Prenay, I'm pretty sure there've been, so many lessons that you've also drawn from this. Like we said, this podcast is such a beautiful initiative, in that the lessons just keep going. So yeah, I'm not sure how you feel.
Yes, thank you, Denielle, and thank you, Aunty Veronica. In the last few days that I've been getting to know you, Aunty Veronica, and today in this episode and conversation, I've been trying to see what are the similarities between you and Sandy. And what comes to mind is that you're both incredibly strong women. When I heard your story that you shared with me about the passing away of your husband so young and how you grew up the three kids, and Sandy, as much as we saw the glamorous life, she also had a hard life, yet she was still so humble in what she did, and she was very grateful. But I see that similarity of you both being strong women. And for myself, she always told me, surround yourself with winners. And just getting to know you in this episode, I can certainly relate to that. She pegged you as a winner when she was in university, and I'm glad to get to know you during this time, as I certainly feel that as well and have huge respect and admiration to you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for that, Prenay. I've made a new friend in you, and I'm happy to do that. You know, I don't usually talk about what I went through, but I don't know. It just came out yesterday about my three children and my late husband. Um, Sandy and I had a closeness that nobody would ever take away because Sandy and I related so well with each other. I'm just I won't say I wish. I'm just saying I know that her children will take after her good ways. That is all I can say. And Claude, he will draw strength from Sandy because Sandy will continue to guide him as my husband did with me. So that is all I've got to say.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's wonderful that when he hears this message from you. Now, Auntie Veronica, before we close, we ask every guest a very important question. And I'd like to ask you this before you leave. Who lifted you up, and how are you lifting others today?
My parents were there for me, my children. If I didn't have my children, I don't know what I would. My faith first, my parents, my children. There's so much that you don't know whether you're making the right decision or the wrong decision when you're alone. And a lot of people will give you advice. As I said to Claude, everybody is such caring. They're so caring. They want to help you by saying these things, but you go by your gut feeling. And that's what I did.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, to our listeners who are listening today, if you're going through something and you need some lifting up, I think there were tons of nuggets that was shared today. And you just need to look within your inner circle, is what I got from Auntie Veronica, into your faith, your parents, or your children, if you have them, to be able to lift you up. If this episode inspired you, we'd love for you to share your own lift up moment, a story of love, kindness, or connection that reminds you of Sandy's light.
Thanks, Prenai. Thank you, Aunty Veronica. And this has been an absolute pleasure. There's been so much to learn from just in the sharing from the heart from everyone. So thank you for being authentic and, bringing your A game to entertain, to bring a tear to the eye, to, have real talk. Just thank you. Thank you for the time and everything that was shared. And we'd love for as many as possible to follow Live to Lift Up, wherever you listen to your podcasts, because it's only in unity that we are able to lift as we rise. So thank you, everyone. Take care. God bless.
Have a great day.